heard it over and over again. To get our economy going, we really need to have students who are into sciences and go in that direction in their career fields. But how do you get kids who have such an aversion to the subject into it? Well, I invited Amy Padoff from Fairchild Tropical Gardens to give us a hint. Check out my interview. Amy, thanks so much for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
So let's start off with the big blanket issue of science education with kids. How well or poorly exposed are South Florida students to science education?
Well, you know, it's a national epidemic. You know, we spend about 10% of our school time on science education, and that's kind of actually a pretty decent-sized number. But what's happening is these kids are not getting science, real hands-on science, inquiry-based science that gives them the opportunity to be able to explore and problem solve on their own. And so it's a big problem. Nationally, there's a huge push for greater STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And that's coming from the federal government. And it's really important that we here in South Florida, with our diverse population of students and our growing population, that we give them the opportunity to be able to experience, you know, the beauty and of nature, but really of the science that we have to offer.
Sure. I mean, on top of the fact that it makes us a more competitive community. I mean, when you talk about the state of Florida being so lacking in jobs these days and things like that, the better educated our workforce, the better educated our community.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, and it's really important because our universities are starting to focus more on this kind of global picture of everything having a science bend to it. Even, you know, law and engineering, it's all very important that we make sure that our kids are prepared, and so that they go on to college and then they find themselves a career upon completion. And so the number of scientists in this world is actually decreasing, and so it's important for us to start building these kids from a young age so that they have an interest in continuing in that field.
And thus Fairchild has come up with a program they've been doing for now 10 years.
Right.
Tell me about it.
That's the Fairchild Challenge. We're really proud of this program. Started in 2002 as a program to engage high school students, because there was this big disconnect between high school students in science and specifically the environment. And so what we've done is we've created this program, which like I said, started off as a high school program, which is now elementary, middle, high school, and we also are piloting a program at the university level. And it's it's a science competition among schools and students. It's multidisciplinary. So what's happening is we're finding kids where they're interested, getting them where they're interested, and, you know, the integrating context then would be science. So an example of that. Fashion design. We offer the Fairchild Challenge Botanic Fashion Show. And these kids are devising and designing these beautiful outfits completely made out of plant material. But on top of that, covertly, what we're doing is we're saying to them, tell us what plants they are, the scientific and the common name. Where are they native to? You know, other examples of that would be debating topics that relate to the environment and science. This year it was water quality and sustainability in our community, and so we had folks in from South Florida Water Management District that talked to them and explained to them what was going on. There's visual arts, performing arts, there's inventing, so engineering, writing, there's scientific research, hardcore scientific research, where they work with our scientists at Fairchild. So it's really great program.
Well, it's so interesting because you say on one hand, like, you know, working with scientists at Fairchild, and that's one thing, but then, you know, fashion design, I mean, that's like almost like sneaking in the education where the kids don't even know.
It is. It's covert, and it's really important because, you know, not all kids realize that they have an interest in science. And so what we do is we find them where they are, we find what interests them, and then what we do is we give them the opportunity to have a quick exposure to science that may cause that aha moment that makes them realize that they really have an interest in this, might want to go further, and also realize that science is involved in everything we do. And so the more we experience it, the more we play with it, the more we get comfortable with it, the better we're going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you hear it in school and you're like, oh, science, it's kind of like that feeling of math or long division. And then when you actually have an application for it, that's a whole other story. It makes it completely relevant and fun.
Absolutely. And what's really interesting is that we're giving them hands-on, you know, experiences where, you know, there are times where they're able to come to the garden, visit with our scientists or our graduate students. We have an amazing graduate studies program where students from FIU and UM are working with our scientists. Our scientists are their advisors, and what they're doing is then they're working with the students, and they're acting as mentors for these students, which gives these students, you know, that idea that I too, you know, these are young people. They look like me. They act like me. You know, I'm comfortable with them, and that science is an achievable goal. You know, being a scientist is an achievable goal. So it gives them.
And then you guys are also working on the Science Village.
Right. We have a brand new building, a brand new complex that we're building, which will be finished December 1st is our grand opening. It's a Science Village complex where all of our scientists who work for the garden will be now housed at the garden. They were about a mile down the road, but they're going to be housed at the garden in the Science Village. All of our graduate students will be there. Additionally, we will have research labs where these graduate students and scientists will be doing their research in the public space so that kids can come along and see them and talk to them and interact with them and see what they're doing. And it, you know, once again, it's that experiential learning. If you see somebody doing it and you have the opportunity to look through a microscope or, you know, look through a hand lens and see DNA of a plant, you know, that could spark something because they may not have realized that this is there, it's available, it's something that they could be doing.
I would think it was mutually beneficial for the scientists as well to actually see people who are excited about their jobs, because some days our jobs are just humdrum.
Right, exactly.
So it's nice.
Yeah, and you know what's really great is that our graduate students, and the reason that we put the graduate students into the education department was not only so that we give the students an opportunity to have mentors who are, you know, early career scientists, but also it gives the scientists, these early career scientists, these graduate students, the opportunity to learn how to communicate their science to the layperson. And you know, the only way that our science is going to be valuable, that their science is going to be truly valuable, is if they're able to communicate it. And so we're teaching them how to do that by being a mentor and learning that they can give back into the community. It's a really great program.
That's very exciting. It's so funny. I'm just sitting here thinking how great it is that I get to do this and find out about all these programs around town that people don't know about all the time. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. It is a fantastic program.
Where do you see it going from here? I mean, you guys are going to open December 1st with the Science Village. You guys have already had this program, the challenge, going on for 10 years.
Well, the challenge continues to grow. So this year, on our 10th anniversary, we have over 250 South Florida schools participating in the Fairchild Challenge. And that equates to about 120,000 students playing with us at the garden. And so we hope to continue to grow that. The Fairchild Challenges also has an international component. We have trained sites around the country and around the globe to be able to do the structure of the program in their community. So we have sites in California and in Pennsylvania, and we have sites in Botswana, in the Netherlands, in Peru, and it continues to grow. People are asking us. We just went and trained a site in Knoxville, Tennessee. They asked us to come and train them to learn about our program. So it's a replicable program that, you know, we could really affect change with it.
It's pretty great. Anything I didn't ask you about that you want to share?
I think we got it all.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Appreciate you having you.
Have a great day.
Pretty fascinating stuff. If you want to have any more information, all you have to do is go to fairchildgarden.com/education. We have to take a break, but before we do, I want you to meet this week's Kid of Character, a program sponsored by Publix.